That's why I am so sad. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains. Yeah, 0112345. Wait, that's not right. 0112358 1321 34 55 89. All right, so let's get going. Today is Thursday. Holy smokes. The day before non-farm payrolls. Awesome. All right, so it's the 1st of December. Happy December. It's the beginning of the end. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable. I'm just waiting for the mothership to take us all to the chosen planet. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Ken, that's my Uncle Billy. Hey! Just love the way that ends. Hey! Listen to me. You listen well. Trading Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, but please always stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne McDonell. I'm the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. My aim, my prime directive, is to make you a better trader, a skilled trader, a confident trader, and once you have all those things, perhaps you will choose TradersWay as your prime broker for your successful Forex trading business, which you will grow and nurture over the course of many years. And you'll do this out of loyalty and respect for us, because in a sense, we're investing into you up front. So we're investing into your future success today, so you need to pay it back. Open up an account at TradersWay.com. Do these sessions 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday here at Forex.Today, and every Friday at FX Street, where I am also Forex Speaker of the Year. Tomorrow is non-farm payrolls, trade non-farm payrolls live, I don't know, 125, 126, I don't even really know. But that's well over 10 years that I've been doing that. You're welcome to join me, and 700 or 800 of my closest trading companions. Hope to see you over there tomorrow. Are you registered? Hope so. Okay, so we got a day today, a big day, a good day to trade. Challenger report has come out. Challenger report plus 100, sorry, that would be horrible, plus 26.9 thousand. So 27,000 people were laid off. Last month it was 31,000. So Donald Trump could go somewhere and say that it was because of his victory that saved those jobs. Hiring intentions. Now here's something else that a lot of people ignore. The hiring intentions of their clients has declined a little bit, but of course they already ramped up for the holiday season. Much of these hiring is under the entertainment leisure industry. So I don't know, that just sounds like Vegas jobs, right? But I remember a few months ago they were intending to hire for retail, and I said, aha, therefore retail sales were going to be up. And sure enough, everyone was shocked at how good retail sales was. I'm like, yeah, but we already knew that, because those retail employers already saw the increased demand and they were intending to hire people, but we already knew that. It's great being the smartest one in the room, huh? Who's that over there? That's the Forex trader guy. He looks smart. So yeah. So that's your job, to be ahead of the curve. Couple of candles ahead of everybody, right? Here's one that we put up a couple of days ago. preparing you for, or I guess a few days ago, preparing you for Noki. Check that out. Isn't that neat? We don't trade Euro Noki very well or very often, if at all, right? What do you mean by bullish momentum on the yen? Do you mean bearish momentum on the yen, bullish on yen pairs? Yeah. Well, it's going to last until they stop, right? And so if it doesn't drop now, then it's going to go all the way to the end of the year. Yeah. But don't tell anybody. Right. So anyways, you see this neat little pattern, down, 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 up, roll reversal, you see here, and just moves the other way down. Now, if you remember, all of these were examples of moving stops if you had made multiple trades on this over the course of time. But look how much it's moved in the last 2 days since I set this up for you. These are pretty decent days. Got to get through the low end here, and it should make a lower low. And I think this was based on a Fibonacci projection. This being a 50% retracement of this move, projects down into here. Cool, huh? Because I know you're watching the ends. I know you're on them. We don't have to cover them. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to dig things up that you maybe haven't been looking at. Now, a little birdie told me that at the end of the year, this may do the opposite. So we'll find out. The little birdie on the tree told me that the last 2 weeks of the year, this Noki's going to weaken, kind of like this. Now, this was a year ago. Wouldn't that be interesting? Just technical analysis, bro. Don't worry about it. So we're back, right? I'm back and I got a bigger gat. So here's the last the last day and the first day of the month, right? And with the Trump effect, who knows how long these things last, but you can see if you played it smart, there were scalps. They're not big ones, but you're not in control of that. And maybe you didn't take profit on the first one, and so now you got knocked out of break even. Hey, that happens, bro. Don't cry about it. It's part of being a trader. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, I did prepare you for the pound to gain its strength, some strength back, but that just had to do with things like oscillators. Okay. I mean, I don't know, a pig dog. See, I'm trying to avoid these right now because you're going to. My experience tells me when I jump into these things, the hot thing at the moment, everyone jumps in and just tries to figure out what I'm doing and then do the same thing and just don't listen. So I'd rather teach you technical analysis. And then if you want to be on these things, you should be on them. What I wanted to show you was, you know, if you look at like the pound dollar, for example, in the daily, it double bottomed, then it made a higher high, then it made a higher low with a, you know, with a 90, no, actually 80% oversold pound, and then and now it's moving, it's cycling back up to the next level. Great. Do I think the pound is something that needs to be purchased and owned? No. But that's what's happening in the moment. Also, we're on a weekly R2 right now on that one, so don't worry about it. So going back to this peso, the only reason I'm looking at it, remember yesterday when we set up this move down, actually the day before yesterday we set up this move down, which happened yesterday. The only reason that was set up is the last day of the month. And something like that may happen again, or may have already happened, being the first day of the month. But other than that, I don't care. I don't give two hoots about this Mexican peso. Right? So that's that. It could be on your radar screen. Gold. Okay. A lot going on in here. So I'm getting the direction correct on gold. As you know, I've only been a bear on this. And it's been bearish. I'm not getting like the patterns very close, am I? I don't remember what we were doing here, but yeah. Was it somebody bought this and I drew that? That's the only thing I can think of that someone had just. Oh, it's true, right? Yeah. Yesterday somebody bought this and they're like, I just bought it. Can you analyze gold? Oh, so we started analyzing gold. I'm like, I guess I see what you're doing, right? You're buying at support. Great. Yeah, great. So maybe it comes up into here, but up in here is where you should be nervous. And I think about 8 minutes later, whoever bought it took a loss or something. I can't remember. Oh yeah, they lost on here and just kind of a mess, right? So I guess for those that have a fundamental or technical bias, if you buy these things, I've always said at least you know when you're wrong. I look at a chart like this and I can't fathom why you'd want to be a bull. You can see here the macro move. I have it coming down to where we are now anyways. And these are all micro moves. Down, up, sell, down, up, sell, down, up, sell, right? So like buying, I just don't, it's just not my flavor of the month. I just don't really get it. But you could do it. Someone did it, but it didn't last very long. No, you're buying in a downtrend. You're down to the 15-minute, 21, something like that. Yeah, somebody did buy it. I remember that. And then there was some news, and they're like, "Oh, I got out." I'm like, "Oh my god, you were in that trade 6 minutes, right?" And it didn't sound like a scalp. It sounded like a fish out of water. But anyways, yeah, and I had to throw that 21 in there, right? Yeah, yeah, whatever. So I prefer just to keep with the trend over and over and over and over and over and over. I'd rather see you on like 15 little micro trades on this, and you just keep throwing and adding and trading the trend, right? But always been a big fan of the trend trader, right? Like again, so now I'm backed out on the 30-minute. Where does it say buy on here? Like if you had to explain it or justify it in front of a court of law, right? You say, well, look at this chart. All it says is up. And they're like, what? Where do you see that? You're like, yeah, this whole series of lower lows and lower highs, it says buy. And they're like, no, no, it doesn't say that at all. Right? So my advice has always been to, trade in the direction of the trend. You'll get lucky more than you get unlucky. And you'll get unlucky at the end of the trend, but trends tend to carry, right? So, I mean, look, where does it say buy? Does anybody see a buy opportunity at all? since September, where you look at that and you're like, dang, I should be long, right? So I've been short gold, spiritually and metaphysically, not not actually short, but as a technical analyst, I've been bearish on gold years. I mean, like years and years and years. Okay, I mean, much longer than this. I probably have to go weekly. Okay, 2008, 2009. So right. So you could see somewhere in here for show, right? Even if you're incredibly conservative, right? Somewhere in there, you got to be bearish, right? Remember somewhere in here too, we shorted at 1382. I think it was this one. And basically did it again, right? So back here in 2013. Yeah. Back in 2013, you guys remember that? We were short 1382. I still remember talking about it because of the clever number, obviously. But if it helps you remember, then that's good, right? But trend line. Oh, that's why I put a trend line. I don't want no trend line. I want my horizontal 132. So anyways, let's get this. 1382. Sounds like a fib number, don't you, Stink? Look at that, how remarkable, huh? So I remember this one out here was the actual major, get short gold 1382. That only lasted from October 2013 to September 2015. So let's just call it 2 years, right? And then of course this was redonkulous, right? But this was everybody over. This was the Fed saying we're going to raise interest rates 4 times in 2016. So everybody buys dollar. And then we very quickly find out they're completely, totally, redonkulously wrong. And there's too many people long dollar, right? So now everyone has to get out of their dollar long positions, which creates this gold strength. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, time to short euro again. Remember the euro dollar no fly zone? That's what this is all about, kicking off our 1382, which is just, of course, old resistance, right? So, but even here, there's very, very little to buy gold. I'm just stretching it out. Like if you're taking this, let me use a different tool, okay? If you're looking at this as old support and you're fundamentally long gold, for some reason, I mean, we can disagree, I don't care, right? But if you say, well, you've analyzed it, and on the weekly chart, it's way oversold. On a weekly chart, you're at support. And for fundamental reasons, or everyone's overshooting the Fed, everyone's overshooting Trump, whatever, you feel like gold's going to go up in the longer run. I said, all right, well, at least you thought about it. But, I think we could at least wait for a higher high on a 15-minute chart before you get long, right? Right? On a 15-minute chart, couldn't we at least break this gray zone up here? Catch a pullback after that and say, all right, well, once it broke 1200, I'll catch a pullback and buy it at 1200 and off we go, right? On our way to 2000 because of whatever reason. But you better have the reasons is all I'm saying. What do you think? You are the one. Do you guys actually take the time and like at least write one sentence of why your trade makes sense before you make the trade? I am selling USD CAD because I think OPEC will make a deal and cut, and in the near term, oil prices will go up and the Canadian dollar will get strong. And you write it down, and then you do it. Right on. Well, that's a good habit. Because I think where you guys go wrong, if we were all to be honest, right? When you have a bad day, it's because you were just winging it. You bought it because it felt good. Okay. Yeah. And that's where like you become a trader. Look at me, I'm trading. No, no, no. You know what the secret is to getting like filthy, stinking rich? Do you know what the secret is? Profiting. Yeah, but and never doing a deal unless you know that you're going to make money. You understand? If you're not going to make money, don't take the trade. I think a lot of you guys just throw down trades, throw them down, boom, boom. If you're not going to make money, don't take the trade. Just like, what if it was a sure thing? What's the direction of the trend? Long. I can only buy. I mean, these are pretty nice rules, right? You can only buy in an uptrend. You can only sell in a downtrend. Oh, but Wayne, I might go 3 months without making a trade. All right, well, you go 3 months without losing money. Go have a 3 month vacation. But anyways, yeah. Look, Italy has GDP. Ooh, that's shocking. European unemployment rate below 10%. That is such good news. 9.8%. Good job, Europe. 10 years from now, you'll be down to 5%. Yeah, excellent. Maybe by then you'll have banks that still have capital in them. Great. So, anyways, we got our jobless claims, right? It'd be cool to get it below 250. That would show a good non-farm payrolls. You'd stink. Okay, Canadian PMI, good, good, good. All right, US PMI, good, good, good. ISM manufacturing, nice. We have services tomorrow? 10. No, there's no news at 10. Unless, hmm. Tomorrow, 10. ISM New York Index. Today. Where's the ISM services? Is it delayed to next week or something? So ISM manufacturing, that's good, but where's ISM services? Where's the non-manufacturing? Amazing how these Spanish bonds, 1.5. You know, it was like 11% or something at the before. Yeah, it's Monday. So that makes our modeling difficult because you need that data before NFP, not after. So there's there's a gaping hole in the model. Oh well. So anyways, yeah. So you know, we got a little bit of news at 10, and you know, nothing major today. Okay, the PMI stuff I never get too excited about. I never get too excited about ISM manufacturing because the U.S. is a services economy, but you know, it's helpful. It's good. I mean, it keeps the greases the skid, so to speak. And Aussie retail sales tonight. Cool. Hey, I got an A minus on my paper on socialist capitalism. I was docked points because my paper was too long and I had too many arguments. But it was well conceived, well constructed, and well thought. Yeah, and I think the paper before they rejected too. It's like it's too long. It's too many arguments. You need to cut out a couple of pages. I'm like, really? Well, which brilliance do you want me to cut out? But anyways, yeah, I mean, honestly, it says that. I would have got a better grade if I had less arguments, but it was my job to argue. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, bloody hell. I heard you can buy your way into Harvard for $6 million if you want your kid to go, even if your kid's an idiot. $6 million. It might be per year. I'm not too sure about that, but you need to make your donation. They can honestly, they can take whoever they want. They don't even report things like GPA and stuff. I don't think they even look at your GPA. Who cares? They take who they want to take. When I heard that, I got really mad because I paid 8. I got gypped. So next year I'm going to try to get a free meal plan. So anyways, save your money. Make some money in Forex so your kids can go to a good school. All right, so okay, so we did the gold. Fine, fine, fine. Good, good, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to get too involved with this, but let's put her down. Okay. If you remember, we were buying all these dips, right? Look at, mark some of these, right? Look, buy the dip, 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 buy the dip. Look at this one, even projected up to here. No, I'm sorry, it went a little higher. Buy the dip, right? Came all the way back down. Funny thing is, it's support, right? Right? Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Pretty cool, man. So since yeah, it's just been buy the dip for a long time now. You've probably noticed over the last few weeks that you know there's always 2 long, maybe 3, maybe 4 long trades on this, and you know I get out of them. You know, try again on the next dip. So Dumi asked about the gold. I used to trade gold a lot. I used to trade gold a lot, oil a lot, and the 10-year T note a lot, and sometimes Um, the Dow, one of them is a lot more expensive than the other, and I forget. So you know, was Dow or S&P 500. I guess it was probably S&P 500 E-minis. But I'm talking 9 years ago, 8 years ago. I don't know. So I did that for a while, and I felt really good. I'm like, man, I'm a well-rounded trader. I do technical analysis. I do fundamental analysis. I trade currencies. I trade futures. Or I'm on the stock market, the bond market, right? I do metals and energies. I felt like a really accomplished trader doing something that I always, well, not always, but something that I wanted to do. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I'm doing it. Yeah. So what happened? Well, okay. So at the end of the year, I I I send my information to my tax guys, and they file extensions and file extensions and file extensions. And no joke, taxes are due in April. So, anyways, actually, even before that, for businesses, all of a sudden it's like November, and they're finally done, and it was like a phone book. I'm like, holy jack, criminy. What is that? And they're like, it's your tax file. It's your taxes. Like, no wonder it's November. What the hell is all of that? They're like, yeah, well, took us a long time. By the way, you owe us a ridiculous amount of money. But your 10-year T notes taxed differently from your oil is taxed differently from your gold's taxed differently from, your stock market or stock indices trading, and all of that is different from your Forex. So we essentially had to do different returns from every one of them, but we had to treat each trade different, unique and special. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Is the American tax code so ridiculously retarded that they're going to treat all of that differently and tax each one differently and have different rules for each one of them? And he's like, uh-huh. So enough that. So I stopped doing that real fast. No, well, that's different. Or maybe it is related. You know what? Maybe it is related. But yeah, I overpaid my federal taxes by over 100,000. I can't remember what it was, but I got my first tax refund. I'm like, oh my God, I got a tax rebate in the mail. First one. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm always paying taxes, right? All of a sudden, I'm like, I got my first tax rebate, and I open it up. It's like $130,000. I'm like, oops. Think I overpaid, but I wanted to be sure, So, but that's nonsense, right? You can't do that. And then then the state owed money, and the California owed me like 50 grand, and oh my God, this is so hard, and plus I had to pay all that money to do the taxes, right? So that's the story. So like, no, I just trade Forex, and that's it. It's got the best tax treatment, and I can look at the S&P 500 and trade something else and get the same correlation and better tax treatments and all that kind of stuff. So, well, actually, there were bookkeepers, right? Accountants and tax attorneys. So there's more than that. And then I had compliance people. So no joke, I had a compliance team, and then the compliance team had to do monthly filings, quarterly filings, annual filings, and here's the kicker, wait for it, annual filings audited by an outside firm. Like, oh my God. You know how much money I spent on like paperwork and lawyers and accountants and compliance? I mean, just like, holy smokes. Living in America. Wow. Right? Yeah, no. It was like, how can this country be the superpower with all this nonsense? It just unbelievably ridiculous. I thought it was a free country. Oh my God. So, anyways, yeah, it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing world. Yeah. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, 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 yeah. Looks like the biggest loser, euro pound. Euro's weak, pound is strong. There you go. Pound dollar, biggest winner. Clearly pound is strong. Pound yen, biggest winner. Pound Aussie, biggest winner. Pound CAD. So let's right? What's the common pound CAD, pound CAD, or I shouldn't say it that way. Pound, 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 and pound on the biggest movers of the day. Seems like pound is strong, yo. Living in America. So yeah. Well, it's not the best one though. Okay. So Shaw says, pound and yen weak, but check this out. According to my statistics, dollar is weaker than yen. Okay. Aussie's weaker than dollar. Or I mean yen. Aussie's weaker than yen, according to this. Wow. Ba-ba-ba. Oh, we didn't do oil, right? Look, there's oil. Okay, now we're done. Not the strongest trend in the world, right? Amazing move for Canada, actually, right? I mean, it pretty significant, like 25% lost against the dollar in a very short amount of time. I don't know why this is hanging up in the middle of nowhere. But, follow this across, right? So I don't know how you want to play it. Like some people would play it this way, right? But I mean, clearly someone is. Feels awfully sideways to me. Well, Nick, the problem is the dollar is generally strong too. Now you might say, well, wait, on the 15-minute chart. Well, look, dollar's been strong for 2 years. US dollar. All right. So if you want to buy CAD, you should be buying CAD yen, CAD Swissy or something. Okay. Don't sell the dollar is another way of saying it. Do 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 do. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 do 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 do. Wow. There's an odd chart, huh? Look at that. Does that say monthly M5? What's an M5? What the heck is that? All right. No, I don't want to trade that. Although that would be a ripper awesome carry trade, huh? But I guess there's not enough carry to make it a carry trade. Not a lot of point in being in on that. Kiwi CAD, nah. Pound CAD, nah. Aussie CAD, nah. Euro CAD, no, I guess the best one's CAD yen. Do, 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 do. Ba, ba, ba. Okay. Stupid Trump move. So this is the problem. If you were long as you were supposed to, right, you got wiped out. That's that's the most horrific part of it, all of this. Mm, 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 mm. Yep. Too bad, so sad. But if you want CAD, I think you're still better off on this one than others. Right? And you can see just moving along, take profit, get back on, get back on. Because if you want to buy something that is, let's say, distressed, but you believe will recover, let's say like Canadian dollar with oil prices, you still need to buy it against something that's weak. I mean, just so you have a chance at all. So no, I wouldn't sell USD CAD because I don't want to sell USD. So, I'm binary in that sense. You'll hear that a lot from me where like, I know what you're doing, but I just can't do it. And you'll say, well, what do you mean? You and you'll say USD CAD's fallen. I've made 100 pips, Wayne. I'm like, yeah, good. I just can't do that trade because I can't sell the US dollar. And you're like, what do you mean you can't? It's against my beliefs, right? No, it's like if I had a disclosure document with you and it said I'm bullish on the US dollar, I can't sell the US dollar for any reason. Otherwise, I'd be breaking my D-doc with you. So what's your disclosure to yourself? So if you want to buy commodities, and you know what? That makes me think about it. Did I at once, maybe 4 months ago, talk about, if you were designing a product to sell to a customer, you would do something like you only trade commodity currencies? Did we do that at one time? I think we did, right? Or you have some sort of alpha, like something that someone could understand. Like if they gave you money, it's because they want exposure to commodity currencies or something like that, right? And so in that case, you'd say, well, I can only buy Aussie on dips and I can only, you know, let's say Aussie yen on dips and CAD yen on dips. And that's that. You can only do that one thing. And once you make that decision to be a specialist in something, then you're on your path very quickly, I think, to becoming a professional. Because it means you've made a decision, right? You've created a product. Think of it as an ETF. If you're more familiar with that, some people are more familiar with the ETFs now. Like, so you can't just show up and say, hey man, I have an ETF, do you want to buy it? Well, what's the first thing they're going to ask? What does your ETF do? Oh, well, we index against gold. Oh, well, I'm already in gold. I don't need your product. I don't need your ETF, right? What's your ETF? Oh, well, we do regional banks. Oh, right. I mean, you should be able to explain yourself. So one of the things I'd like to do, I don't know, sometime, I don't know. It was an idea I had before. I'd like to get, let's say 6 people or maybe 8 people each that are ready to start their own fund, and we go somewhere exotic, lock ourselves into a hotel for a week or so, and I prepare you to raise money, and we develop investor presentations and documentation and elevator pitches and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, 20 grand for a week, and you come out, ready to go on a road show with documents. Like, you leave with stuff to go get printed. You know what I mean? You've rehearsed your investor presentation, and you got it down. I think that would be fun. Of course, South Africa would be a great place for that. How do you like them apples? Best apples ever. Joetown. All right, so anyways, USD CAD. Yeah, and we'll go smoke a cigar, but also go to a meat eating restaurant where they have 95 different pieces of meat for you to choose from, and then order the vegetarian. There's just something awesome about that. Oh, I don't do zebra. What a prissy man. What do you mean you don't eat zebra? I don't eat gazelle? No way. Yeah, but they had some nice veggies. Yeah. All right. Yeah. What do we want to do to mix it up? You know what? We could go to. Let's do something different just for fun. And we can use our little rain gauge here where it's raining pips and decide what we want to look at. USD yen neutral, nothing to look at. Euro yen neutral, nothing to look at. CAD yen neutral, nothing to look at. Or if you know the trend behind these things, you could say, like we just looked at CAD yen, there's a big long uptrend, although we are at resistance, there's no doubt. But it might say, ooh, look, it's neutral. I wonder if that means we're in a consolidation mode, which means, think of like pennant or flag patterns where you have a strong trend, consolidate, 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 boom, pop out, right? Actually, no, it'd be a great place to hold a week-long seminar, learn how to raise money and be the king of capitalism. You should go to Cuba. So Euro pound in here, not interesting, not interesting. It's actually pretty flat, huh? I guess we got to wait for our news coming out. Baltic Dry Index still flapping around 1200, which is pretty amazing. Canadian leading indicators earlier were slightly disappointed, but I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. just zipping through the news from overnight. I kind of covered it, but like it's not amazing, right? UK PMI, good. I mean, I guess that you could be worried about bad, but it doesn't surprise me. Like I don't like. Here's my logic. Like UK manufacturing with the Brexit vote, should manufacturing collapse? No. With the devalued pound, it should actually encourage manufacturing. So, like, why would that be surprising news, right? Like, why do people? It's like people don't think. They're just like, that is so better than it used to be just a few months ago. Yeah, well, the value of the currency is down by like 30%. It actually encourages manufacturing and exports, right? So it's like, very shocking news. So, but anyways, everybody's very happy with the pound. Italian unemployment rate, they broke 12%. Unless you're right. Did you hear the good news? I guess I should say. The good news, if you're like under the age of 32 or 33 and you live in Italy, right? Things have really improved, right? Only, what is it? It's more than that. I was going to say 1 out of 3 people are unemployed. It's actually a little bit more than that. So, 37% of people, young workers, are unemployed. Just wow. And that's the lowest since 2012. Wow. But again, that's a sign of socialism, if you ask me. I could look at that and say that's socialism failing. Now you say, well, but they're capitalists. They're not like Soviet communists. No, but they want to protect the workers, which is good, and there's nothing wrong with protecting workers. But they set up a system where if you're an Italian and you have a job, it's impossible to get fired, no matter how incompetent or lazy of a worker you might be. You just can't get fired. So if you're an employer in Italy, and the same thing is for Spain and some other countries, if you're an employer, you will do whatever it takes to not hire people because it's like a marriage, and divorce is not an option because it's just too bloody, too expensive, too time consuming, right? And there's kids, so you just stay married for the kids, and that's that. It's like a lifetime commitment. What if this guy's a bonehead? Well, you can't fire him. So in that case, you're very, very, very scared about hiring people. And why would you hire a young person with no history, no job experience? You're like, I have to hire this guy who's 28 years old and he's going to work for me for 40 years. What's Italy? 22 years? You're like, I don't know. I think I'll delay this. You see what I mean? Now, I think I mentioned it. If you go back like 100 years ago, especially like we'll use America as an example, there wasn't a thing like unemployment benefits. The government didn't track unemployment. They didn't even have a definition for it. Nobody cared. It had nothing to do with the government. And what would happen is that the economy would heat up, and everyone would get a job, and it would heat up even more, and then you can go somewhere else and get a better job if they didn't pay you well. There's always another place you can go. You can go to the factory across the street and get a better job or better conditions, and so things would boom for a while. And as we know, they would bust. So you'd lose your job. Initial jobless claims very high. Ooh, 268. You got to put that in the model. That points to a not so good NFP. Tisk, tisk, tisk. That's way above average. So anyway, so going back in the day, what would happen is the economy would collapse and a whole bunch of people would lose their jobs all at once. What happens to wages? Plummet. And then all of a sudden, if you can get workers for cheap, you can afford to do business again, and then you get back in. But there wasn't this need for unemployment insurance where the government pays you. In America, I think it's 3 months. In Italy, it's probably 3 years where you get unemployment benefits. So wages never come down. The market can't adjust. It's supposed to adjust, right? So now you got to rely on your central bank to print money, to devalue the currency. So it seems like your wages have come down. It used to be that you just would work for someone else for cheaper because you had no choice, because you need to eat. So it's just interesting how a lot of things backfire, like rent control. You want people to be able to have affordable housing. I get it. So you pass a law and you say, you can't charge too much for rent. We want people to have a place to live. Makes perfect sense. Except people don't want to make the investment into building new housing if they can't get a return on investment. They're not going to do it out of benevolence. The benevolent real estate developer doesn't exist. So what happens is there's never enough housing. Good job. Right? They call that dead weight. Good job, government. You helped everybody with rent control, and there's no place to live. What you should do is incentivize builders to build like crazy, to redevelop poor, run down parts of neighborhoods and stuff, develop like crazy, build inventory like crazy, so that there's huge amounts of square footage available for people, and there's massive amounts of competition, and rents go down because there's oversupply of places to live. So instead of adjusting, putting a law to like limit rent, you should incentivize developers to build in parts of town you want redeveloped. The old neighborhood with all the factories in it, turn the factories into lofts. Get all the yuppies to move into the lofts, and then create availability somewhere else, and rents come down, and that's how you do it. So I don't know. So anyway, so I look at like Italian unemployment, almost 40% if you're a young worker. To say it differently, the booming economies of the world have young workers that are working. Isn't that interesting? Milton Friedman, I've read a lot of his stuff. I'm not that, it's funny, you read all these philosophers, and Milton Friedman's one of them. They know their economics, but I think after a while, they're in the business of selling their books. And they take it a step too far. And it just sounds like the same video over and over again. And I probably sound that way too. But I feel like I'm a realist because I'm a capitalist. I'm in the market to make money, and I'm in the market to feed my family, and I'm in the market to invest. And I'm in it. I'm not on the outside saying everything is bad and everything is bad, and and not offer any solution. And by the way, buy my book. Buy my book, Make Me Rich, as I tell you everything that's wrong with capitalism. They're like, but you're getting filthy, stinking rich, telling people how bad capitalism is. You know what I mean? But if you've read Milton Friedman, you should do what I've done. You go all the way back. Go all the way back. Start with like Machiavelli, Italy, 1500s. Right? And work your way to Milton Friedman. And in fact, there's even others. Have you read Piketty, for example? He hasn't won the Nobel Prize yet. He's too young. He'll win the Nobel Prize in the next 15 years. Do you know Piketty? He's a French economist. Yeah. Thomas, I think. Thomas Piketty. Piketty. Stiglitz, he has won a Nobel Prize. So if you read Stiglitz, I think you'd read first. No, because his new stuff talks about Piketty. Okay, read Piketty first, then read Stiglitz. Okay, so now we're talking about people that are alive now, right? And start there. They're more economists than I think. Like again, when you read Milton Friedman, I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, yeah, read Milton Friedman. I mean, I don't. It's funny if you read them all. I guess is what I was saying. Every poet is a thief. It's amazing how you can start to see how they influence each other along the way, and that there's an evolution along the way. And yeah, I have Piketty's book right here somewhere. Actually, I don't have it in front of me. I think it's in the living room. Yeah, it's funny, huh? Oh, no, Stiglitz, The Price of Inequality. I don't know. It's around here. But it's interesting how they influence each other, and so yeah. So I don't know. There's so much to talk about. It's how do you put it together? So like I guess Friedman I like. There's no doubt about it. And then to kind of have sort of a not a counterpoint, but sort of a different take on the same thing, you would read Chomsky. You know Chomsky? And he's crazy. I mean, he's got some good ideas, and then if you listen long enough, you're like, that's crazy. You're crazy. So those are all the guys from like the last 50 years, if you want to do that. So Stiglitz, Piketty, Chomsky, just because he's crazy, you got to have someone way out there. And then on the other side, you got to have Milton Friedman, right? So I think that lines it up. Let's line it up. Conservative to radical, I guess, not because you can't say liberal because then that means something different. But so if you're going to put them in an order, I guess you could figure out what the order means if you read all the books. But you would go Friedman, Stiglitz, Piketty, Chomsky. Right? So there you go. But there's good, right? Lunatic, but there's some interesting information in there, and different points of view. So you can put that together. I don't know. There you go. But if you want to go farther back in time, you would do Machiavelli, read Hobbes's Leviathan, John Locke, and then skip ahead to like Adam Smith. And then I think it kind of splits off from there. But do that too if you really want to do your history, because now you're talking about the 1500s, the 1600s, the 1700s up until almost 1800. Which means, where did the Industrial Revolution come from? How did it actually get born? What led up to these ideas? How did Europe go from a place that had kings and queens and serfs and lords to suddenly we have an industrial revolution, right, going on? And where did the gold standard come from? Like Germany and Holland and Belgium were all trading with England, right? And they had money in London from banking and insurance. But who invented that? Where did that come from? Like, oh my God, where did factories come from? Right? And, it's just really interesting. Well, what led up to the parliamentarians and the English Civil War. What ideas were in people's brains that led to that, right? And how did the repeal of protectionism and the corn laws kind of catapult that, right? So, I mean, now you're like, right? I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, where did the gold standard, not the one not your dad's gold standard. I mean, the gold standard of the mid 1800s, right? So that's why you got to like Machiavelli, and then you got to do Hobbes, and you got to do John Locke, and then you do Smith. Okay, and that's how capitalism was born, and democracy. Even, I mean, I don't know. You got to kind of give democracy a little bit to the French, but and then off you go, and then study the guys of now, and kind of maybe participate in creating the right capitalism for the future, right? One interesting take is the welfare state, and of course, if I said welfare state, you immediately say ah. But of course, like almost everything, it's misunderstood and mistalked about by people that haven't actually studied it. And the interesting thing about the welfare state kind of system is it doesn't care how filthy stinking rich you are if you're a rich banker, for example, right? They don't care about the 1%. There's always going to be a 1%. Don't even deal with it. There are going to be people that look at the rules and go after it with a vengeance and make a ton of money within the rules. Now, if you break the rules because you're a scumbag, you should go to jail. But if you go out there and you hustle and you make a crap load of money, it's okay with a social welfare state system. But there's a tax on it. And the tax, if you in whatever form it's done, it may not actually be a tax, but there's a cost to it, let's say. And some of that money from the social elite at the very top has to go to the very bottom, not the middle class. The middle class just kind of bumble around existing, right? I often think about the woman that works at Walmart and then she walks across the street to get her hair cut. And then you realize she works at Walmart so she can get her hair cut. And the woman cutting her hair gets paid so she can shop at Walmart. And if you just got rid of the haircut place and the Walmart place, there'd be less traffic. Right? So you totally skip the middle class and you look at the ones at the very top making just crap loads of money and just say, look, that's just part of society. There's always going to be that. And then you take from them, not a lot, but enough, and you give it to the lowest common denominator, and you lift the bar, so to speak. That's kind of interesting. I think that might be able, right? So that the worst of the worst is not that bad. And then, of course, now they have money to spend on middle class things, and then the middle class people then have things to spend on the higher class, and then the guys at the top make money on everybody because they own everything. But what are you going to do? Be angry at them because they invested their money? I don't know. So once again, you guys drive very interesting conversations. Technically, not an amazing amount going on. You wake up in the morning. What do you want to do? You want to buy some yen pairs. So I hope you do. Right. So the way I think is euro dollar's going to fall, or it's not. But I either want to sell euro dollar in the next few hours. I might not get the opportunity, but it's in my mind. I'm looking for opportunities and situations and price levels and looking for resistance, that kind of stuff. I may not get it, but I'm looking to sell euro dollar. And I'd like to buy yen pairs. I don't know if, so I'm looking for dips. When I see red candles on yen pairs, I salivate. Interesting, huh? Right? I mean, it could be worse, right? At least, right? So anyways, hey, you have a wonderful day. Tomorrow I'm going to be at fxstreet.com. Be nice to see you over there. You should register. And I'm already looking forward to Monday because the next few weeks are going to be interesting and sensitive, I think. You know, be very, very interesting because we got the non-farm payrolls, but we got the Fed. So, you know, what do we do? Front run the Fed hike, and then what? Everyone bails the day after, or the day after the day after the Fed hike? Like, when do people stop trading? Do they trade right into the new year? Sometimes it happens. So every year is a bit unique. So you know, I can't wait to see what happens on over the next few weeks. I mean, it's an interesting month. Oh my God! Right? So, oh, Santa rally. Well, there you go. I mean, how simpleton are stock traders, huh? Hey, what an easy job that is, huh? Being a stock trader. Yeah, well, buy dip. But I guess we have the same, right? But we have global concerns. So, anyways, hey, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. I'll see you tomorrow for non-farm payrolls. You have a wonderful weekend if I don't see you at NFP. And like I said, the next few weeks are going to be very interesting, very important, and maybe very exciting, and maybe not. But you certainly don't want to turn your back on the market. So I don't know. I'm always in this situation. I'm always looking forward to the rest of the day and all of tomorrow. So I'm glad you're on my team. I'll see you soon. Cheers.